who's viewing us out there. Yeah. So today we're going to have a talk on Zoom security awareness. We have two remarkable speakers. First is Prof. Dr. Norbik Bashar Idris, our dear Chief Information Officer, CIO, yeah. And our second speaker is Brother Irfan Mazlan. Right, so without further ado, I would like to invite Prof to start your talk.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim wa anta 'allamul ghuyub. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah again. Alhamdulillah, we have the opportunity to meet here today online. This is part of our initiative to bring awareness. I like to share my slides at this stage, inshallah. Let me just share. Can the host enable me to share my slide? Thank you very much.
It's great. Yeah.
Dekat pergi kat nama Prof tu. Kat tu.
Itu dia. Mana? Macam dia ni.
More.
Irfan.
Tu Irfan.
Mana ni Prof. Norbik? Oh. Mana?
Okay.
Hello apa? Dah dapat.
Share. Nak share.
Haa.
Dekat share screen ni biar ni. Dekat warna kecil.
Obat.
Boleh lah Prof.
Boleh, Prof?
I'm still disabled.
Sekejap ya.
Tu.
We see one buat Prof jadi co-host.
Okay.
You can turn off.
Okay, dah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to begin by mentioning a few things. First, we are from ITD, Alhamdulillah, and this initiative today is one of the things that we want to do this year to heighten up and to also make a better engagement with the IIUM community from the ICT perspective. And one of the things that happened post-COVID is, of course, there is far more people that are now engaged online than it was before. We enjoy having meetings online. We enjoy going through Zoom and all kind of webinars. But at the same time, we have also been attacked a few times. So one of the things that we really want to be engaging and bringing that message to the IIM community is on this issue, what we call cybersecurity awareness. And before that, I also want to just share in a very brief way the kind of thing that we are also planning to do this year for the university as far as the ICT strategic initiatives are concerned. These are initiatives that we have prepared to make things go in line with the current direction that the university has been engaging. You know, issues like SAF and knowledge connectivity and things like this. So there are 5 clusters that we have planned to embark. I just go through them here briefly. One is on technological solutions, ethical technological solutions. The word ethical also deserves some deep thinking. We don't want to use technology and the solution for the wrong ethics. There is an issue of knowledge management. Knowledge is the bread and butter for the existence of the university. There are a lot of knowledge that needs to be captured, that needs to be shared, and knowledge generates new innovation and so on. Knowledge management is another cluster of activity that we want to pick up. The third one, which is really very much on what we are on today, is on the issue of ICT security. For those of you who are aware of ICT security, there have been a group before this, which was called the Anonymous Group. It exists in every country. Even in Malaysia, we have the Anonymous Group, the one that appear online using that, you know, topping and that special mask and just warning all parties, authorities here and there. And interestingly, these 11 guys got caught recently by the PDRM, and they were graduates. And I'm glad that none of them was graduate of IIUM. They were graduates, but they were trying to be like a hero and doing things which is not in a very ethical way. To me, you can contribute your knowledge, look after the security, amnul ma'lumat of the university and so on in a very ethical and proper way. So the third cluster, which is very much that we are on today, is on ICT security. So I just want to finish this overall perspective. I just want to share with the community of the IUM. The fourth one is on practical policies and SOPs. There are many things we want to do. We realize that various group works in the silos, system cannot be integrated properly and so on. So we need this proper, we need to relook and to review and inshallah put in place policies and SOPs which are practical enough so that we can do our work and deliver the services that we need to do to the university. And the fourth and the last one is staff development. Things change. In the IT, things change very fast. And yet sometimes we are not as fast as the changes. So we need people who are fully brought up to the current level of technology, being able to manage the current requirement, current challenges, and so on. One example I can give here is the university decided that we want to move slowly and progressively, move things and system onto the cloud. So because of that, we need new staff who can do cloud programming, who can manage resources on the cloud, not just the bare metal. When you subscribe to a cloud provider like Amazon or Microsoft or whatever, you can come in at different level. You can just say, just give me the bare metal. I know how to manage things, although you are the cloud provider. So there are new things that have to be learned by our staff and perhaps even to get certified and so on. So briefly, these are the clusters I really want to share with the IIM community, and saying that, of course, mean that we also need a lot of your support, a lot of your feedback and commitment and help to make things work, inshallah, for the university. So what we are on today is on the third cluster, which is very much on this issue of cybersecurity. It is an area that I dearly love as well. I have been involved, alhamdulillah, in these areas for more than 30 years. We used to manage the cybersecurity of the country from Perlis to Sabah. And we have had millions of attacks into the country from various sources, various countries, and all kind of places. So this is an area that I also particularly am very passionate about. Cybersecurity, we talk about attacks. Zoom has been attacked in this university many times, but we are not the first to be attacked. Even in countries like Singapore, the Singapore Education Ministry will also attack, in the US and so on. So attacks and hijacking and all this kind of thing, it will always happen from time to time. As soon as we become lax, as soon as laxity creeps into the organization, it's just like we have a house. We're supposed to close the door and the windows every day when night comes. Sometimes we are lax. We don't close some windows. We close maybe the door, but we don't lock it. So there are people who always will look at your house and see that, oh, his window is open, so it's probably something I can do or something. Somebody shake your doors and realize that it is closed, but it's not locked. So when the people who are supposed to manage the house go into a laxity mode, you become vulnerable. And when you become vulnerable, there are people who walk by near your house and they start seeing that, oh, the window is open. Maybe I can walk in, or I can climb in or something. And the door is not locked. Maybe I can shake a bit and, oh, actually I can walk in. People do all these kind of things from time to time. And there are a lot of people who love to do this, from the high school kids right to the very organized, targeted organization that belong to countries and so on. There are people who are fully paid to do this kind of thing. So cybersecurity is on the rise, especially as more people now migrate into the online platform. We buy more things from Lazada, Shopee now because of the COVID. We order a lot of things through Grab, whatever. So the migration and the changing of environment happens a lot. A lot of the teaching and learning will continue to be online. And is quite unfortunate on the one hand, but it's also okay because we are going to experiment, especially for organizations like IIUM. Just last week, we had one of our students from Canada, and was saying that I cannot access your iTalim. I say, where are you from? Actually, I'm accessing from Canada. So it's quite nice to have that kind of feeling that IIUM have students from all over the world. They are accessing our facilities and our system. And of course, it is our responsibility to really manage that these things are, they are in good condition and properly look after and so on. So cybersecurity is an issue that is on the rise. And the issue today and the awareness talk today start with this issue of cybersecurity. And in managing cybersecurity issues, I always love to go just to the basics. For me, we don't have to always talk about the high level concepts, even if the basics are not managed properly. And in managing the ecosystem of ICT, the basic always usually fall into this triangular ecosystem. One is the technology, the other one is the people, and the third one is the process. So we could be buying the technology, computers, machine, network switches, and so on, and put them in place. And then you start asking, who are the people who will be managing this? Are they properly trained? Are they okay? Are they up to the current level of technology in managing this? Who are the other people, the users, the staff of the university? Are they aware of the kind of vulnerabilities that they are exposed to? Do they just download anything from somewhere? When somebody sends them a message or an email, do they just click it? Do you share your password with just anybody? No, this is the people part. We could be buying technology worth millions of ringgit. But if the people is the one that is not using it properly, the weakest link in the entire ecosystem is the people. And at such a time, if I'm the attacker, I will not attack the technology. I will not attack the encryption machine, which is worth 1 million bought by the university or something. I will attack the people. He is careless at some stage. He goes for lunch somewhere near the river and so on, and he leaves his machine on. What stops someone quickly doing something and installing, a keyboard checker or something, so that whatever he typed from then on, somebody can catch. So the people part is another component of the basic system. And of course, the third one is the process. How do we manage the information? How do we look after the confidentiality, the integrity? How do we manage the communication and so on? What are the policies that are in place? And this goes beyond just the IT part. It goes even to the extent of the work of MSD, for example. People who want to apply job and work in IIUM, do we go through their background and vet who they are? Because it could happen that we might be bringing people who are vulnerable. And in our experience, vulnerable people could mean like people who are drug addicts, for example. If nobody vet through their background, they become a staff at the university and they are in need of some cash or whatever, you pay him 100 ringgit, he will give you whatever you want. So there is a technology portion, there is a people portion, and there is the process that has to be always in place, policies and guidelines and procedures to make the entire ecosystem work properly. One of them being not looked after well, then you are vulnerable for attack. But the most important thing to raise here is that the weakest link and the weakest point that is usually targeted by the attacker is usually the people. The people. I give you an example. We used to be doing this to many organizations in Malaysia. And we go into the canteen and where they meet, and I just throw USB drive on the corridor. I leave some on the desk of the canteen or something. But inside the USB, I already planted some small program that whenever he takes the USB, the first thing that somebody has the USB, the first thing he does when he gets back to his machine is to put onto the USB port and start seeing what's in the file. As soon as he puts it into his machine, I got him. So what is that? That's the people part. People have to be told that when you find a USB, when you find a disc or something, or a CD, and we used to throw, CD of Nurhaliza everywhere, live singer. The first thing people take the CD is put it in their CD drive, put it in their machine. But we have purposely planted. I mean, I didn't do this as a bad guy. I was paid to do this kind of job. I mean, we did this for banks, we did this for government organizations. We were paid to do this kind of job, and we did this. I throw USB everywhere, and sure, one of the guy who picked up the USB, he gets back to his computer, he put it in place, he got it. And when I get him, I get into his network, we can do wonders. We can do wonders, wonderful things, I mean. And we used to be paid this kind of job by all banks in Malaysia. And sadly, at that time, we were able to break into any bank that was there in the country, or any organization. And most of the works were done by my students, or students that used to be with us. So they were really smart attackers and hackers, and they really know how to break into system, to the point that the policy we say at that time is, for as long as you're connected to the internet, you are vulnerable. A good determined hacker can always get you. So the only way that you can save yourself is to disconnect completely and go and live in a jungle somewhere. Of course, we're not like that. And IIUM will never be like that. IIUM will always be connected to the internet. And because of that, we always have to manage the entire ecosystem that makes up the cybersecurity of the university. Okay, I have a few more slides before I pass to Irfan. So most of the time we manage a guy like this. Recently we had a Zoom bombing. And on that day alone, we saw 11 participants from US, 2 from Singapore, a few from other countries, simply because we shared and we viral the passcode and the meeting ID and the passcode of the meeting to almost everyone. Of course, the intention was good, because we want as many people to attend and listen to the talk. But on the other hand, not all of them are, someone that you welcome. It could be someone like this without a face. And true enough, we got bombings. And in my experience, it's not difficult that someone who bombed you could be from LA, and from LA, he actually got there from London. From London, he got there from Hong Kong. And actually from Hong Kong, he was from Batu Cave, really. So, because as far as my experience is concerned, whatever we do in IIUM, giving a talk on Murabi or something, why would somebody in the US want to Zoom bomb? To them, talk on Murabi in UI is so irrelevant to them. So the point I'm saying is, most of the time, the Zoom bomber is actually somebody in Batu Cave or in Ampang. But they have been hopping through various sites all over the world, and eventually got to a site in Los Angeles and do a Zoom bombing from there, because he knows the exact meeting password and the exact meeting code. And he started doing nasty things. And we don't know him because he's so anonymous and so on. But actually, he's just somebody who knows what is happening and what is going on in IIUM. So we live, we laugh, and suddenly we got hacked, and then we stop laughing. And in the field of cybersecurity, you got it once, there is the reputation problem. There is the reputation that has to be managed. And in my experience, even Jabatan Agama Islam got hacked, and the first page, the landing page of Jabatan Agama Islam is something nasty. And that's very bad. I mean, it's a very unfortunate and a very sad thing that can happen. So inshallah, we really would like to work together, and we will try to organize regular and continuous cybersecurity awareness and engagement like this, because there are many experts, and there are many people in IUM who are good in this, in KICT and the cybersecurity experts and people, and also outside IUM. These are kawan-kawan and friends that we can rely on. If we are not good in a certain area, we can always call them and ask for opinion and so on. So the cybersecurity awareness, inshallah, is something that we want to seriously and continuously do for the university. And hopefully this will also get an increase in the awareness, and we can look after our ecosystem in a much better way. Awareness is so important because technology alone cannot protect you from everything. As I mentioned earlier, the weakest link or the weakest component in the triangle just now is always the human being. Is always the human being. I gave an example. You know, in our house or in my house, we used to put grill on the doors and the windows. I put electronic fencing so that nobody can pass through and it will trigger an alarm or something. And even at the roof, the ceiling, you put grill so that nobody can come from the roof, kind of thing. And yet my maid, when she goes out to buy something to the nearest shop, she brings the key and she put the key just underneath the flower pot just by the door. She put the key under the flower pot by the door. Somebody who watched this, they know that I got electronic fencing, grill here and there, but the weakest link is because the human being who foolishly put the key under the flower pot by the door. That's the weakest link that we're talking about. And more often than not, even in organization, very advanced technology one, that's the weakest link. So attackers will always go for that weakest part, which is the human being. They treat you for lunch and they praise you or whatever just to get that information. And I keep repeating that the people is always the weakest part of that component. So the awareness will inshallah be talking to the staff, the students, the vendors, our business management of the university, and everyone who actually comes into the university. And inshallah, from time to time, we will share these kind of tips and information so that all together we can manage and look after the security of the university. I mean, the information security, amnul ma'lumat of the university in a much better way, inshallah. So attack that has happened, don't assume that you're not an attacker. You're not someone targeted by the attacker. You are someone targeted by the attacker. In the context of IUM, lecturers better watch out. Your lecturer's account in your machine, in your PC, and so on. Whatever you communicate, and so on. We have had situations in which a website of Kuliah Journal has been attacked. We've had situations in which spam emails, which portray themselves like the president or even the rector of the university, start sending email. Norbit, you are wanted to do this, but the rector never sent the email. So there's spams going on like this most of the time. And like I have mentioned earlier, we have been Zoom bombed a few times. And that's a hard way of learning things, inshallah. So slowly we will bring in this knowledge culture. And today, inshallah, we start off with this webinar on Zoom and how to avoid this issue of Zoom bombing by attackers that have been targeting and being interested in us, inshallah. So this is the one that we are on today. Inshallah, there are a lot of other issues that we have to discuss about security, but progressively we will do this in future. So for today, on the rest of the talk on Zoom, I will pass over to our engineer who have been managing and championing this Zoom issue in the IUM, who is Irfan, brother Irfan. So I will pass over to Irfan, inshallah. I don't know whether Dayang want to do some introduction of Irfan, but Irfan has been the guy whom I learned a lot from him. And I guess as of now, he is the best and most authoritative person to speak about Zoom in this university. And perhaps at other time, we also talk about WebEx, Teams, and Google Meet or whatever. Although to me, all these tools, they are almost equally the same features-wise and so on. But let's start today, inshallah, with talking about the security of the Zoom tool. Over to you, brother Irfan, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you, Prof. Nobik, for the advice and some awareness about the cybersecurity. Okay, my name is Irfan, and I'm working at ITD. Actually, I'm not the expert for the Zoom, but uh, but a lot, uh, but always using Zoom for the meeting, for the conference, so a lot handling this kind of platform. So I know a little bit about it. So the first thing I will do, I will share tips for securing Zoom meeting. Okay, this is actually the same tips that we already announced in the IOM announcement. I think everyone, if you're aware, you uh, you already seen all these 10 tips. But at the end, I will demo to you, or I will show you how to do it exactly at the Zoom application. Okay, first tips, actually turn on your waiting room. Okay, what is the waiting room? Waiting room is the a kind like we put a people at a lobby so that people didn't enter the meeting uh, pada masa yang dia tak perlu lah. So uh, when we have some meeting, these people or certain people didn't have to be there, so we can put it in the waiting room. So when it's their turn to present or to say something in the meeting, we can put it back into the meeting. So another things, we can filter or we can select who is entering our meeting. So with using these features, we can actually filter unwanted person, or we only allow the people that you know to enter the meetings. Okay, for the second tip, require a passcode to join. At first, we doing Zoom at IUM last 2 years, 2019. We only create meeting and we didn't take the required meeting password. We just create a link and we just give a meeting ID. Everyone can enter the meeting. So after a few incidents at last year during the PKP, first PKP or MCO, we enable this feature, which to prevent people that have a meeting ID but didn't have the passcode to enter our meeting. So this is to enhance our security of the meetings. So the third tip is only allow registered or domain verified users. Uh, this actually to prevent the unwanted person or people to enter our meeting. So with this feature, I'm sure everyone is enter this meeting. You have to sign in as a user, right? So if you not sign in as a Zoom user, or you cannot enter the meeting. So with this feature, we can actually see their real name. Before this, when I handling the Zoom meeting or webinar or conference, there is so many people that enter with name like iPad, iPhone, Huawei, or whatever. We don't know. We do not know who is these people. But now with the feature, I see here, if you can see the participant list, all of these people using their real name. So it's easy to track and to filter the user. The fourth tip is, go to next, mute participants and disable video by default. So this is this setting is we have to set it when we want to create the meeting. So the host or the organizer, when you create the meeting, before you create the meeting, you have some things to go through, like you can mute the participant upon entry, or you can disable the video by default. So with this feature, everybody enter the meeting will be muted. So there is no unwanted video or sound during the meeting. Okay, the fifth tip is make someone a co-host. This feature is actually to assist or to assist the host to handle the meeting. So the co-host will have the same feature or control over the meeting same as a host. So what this co-host can do is they can admit person to the meeting. They can remove the person if they didn't have to be there, or they may rename the person. Maybe uh, if you want to disable the screen share, so the co-host can do all those things. So it's easier if we have maybe like a 2 or 3 co-hosts to control a meeting or a webinar, so that this Zoom bombing not happen. So the tip 6 is control sharing, screen sharing. So as you can see, when at first when Prof Nobik want to start the talk, he cannot share the screen, right? Because he is the participant, and we didn't allow the normal participants to share the screen. So that's one of the feature that we enable. So we can prevent the Zoom bombing. When we disable the screen sharing, the person that only can share is co-host and host. So the best way, I think there's not so many people will present or will talk in the meeting. So you only allow or you only make a few of these people or attendees to be a co-host. So by that way, you can control who will share the screen. The tip number 7 is disable private chat. So this we actually now can chat. If you see at the bottom, we can chat to each other, but sometimes this chatting things what is disrupt our meeting and conference. So as a host or co-host, you may disable these features. So after the meeting, during the Q&A session, maybe you can enable back this chat settings. Tip number 8 is turn off the annotation. A lot of Zoom bombing that happens in IUM is when somebody hijacking the meeting or enter the meeting, they write or draw something that we didn't have to see, or is a bad thing they draw at the PC. Like, so this feature, when we disable the annotation, all if people sharing or doing presentation, they cannot draw or write something on the screen. So this is a way that we want to avoid the Zoom bombing. Okay, the tip number 9, remove participant. So as earlier I said to you, we can as a host or co-host, we can remove participants. So if you do not need anybody or somebody in the meeting, you can remove them, and you can lock the meeting. So the participant cannot enter the meeting anymore. So this tip number 10, log a meeting once it starts. If you ensure or you all the participant is already entered the meetings, you can log the meeting and nobody can enter the meeting after that. So all this tip actually I will demo to you after this. So easier to for you all to see where is the buttons or where you want to click, and you can apply on the Zoom meeting. I will using the free Zoom meeting to demo to do the demonstration. It's not the paid version, so we will have the same features. And for the free Zoom meeting, actually, uh, is only allow for 45 minutes of meetings. So the function basically almost the same, but only very limited times. And before I forget, most of the time the Zoom bombing happens because, like Prof said, it's because of human being. Why I'm saying that, when we having a webinar or conference, we would like to post the meeting ID and meeting passcode at everywhere. We post at the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. When we post that, this hacker or someone wants to hack our meeting, they just search the keyword Zoom meeting or Zoom Zoom meeting ID or Zoom passcode, then they will found this meeting ID and password, so they can enter the meeting. So to prevent that from happen, if you have some webinars or talk, I'm suggesting to you to only email to the person that related, or if you want to broadcast it, just broadcast the YouTube YouTube channel or YouTube or Facebook Live. So everybody is outside the organization, or only the person that want to watch your talk, do not interact with you, will watch from the Facebook Live or YouTube Live. So in that way, the person cannot enter the meeting and do the Zoom bombing. So the next thing, I will show you the features that I talked earlier. Moment. Okay. I hope everybody can see the screen now. Uh, the first feature I want to talk is about the waiting room. So this is the waiting room. If you can see, if we enable the waiting room features, the person that enter the meeting will have to wait here at the waiting room. So you can admit her or him, or you can remove it. So now we admit the person. Okay. After we admit the person, uh, we actually, if all the attendees or participants are here, you actually can lock the meeting. Here the function, when you go to the security tab, there is a few setting or configuration you can do to secure your meetings. Like you can lock the meetings. So now you have locked the meeting, no one else can join. And if there is so many people here, like maybe 200 or 300, if you buy a education license, so it's hard to control, right? People like to talk, like to unmute. So first of all, you can mute all the participants, and you untick these buttons. These buttons allow participants to unmute themselves. So you untick these buttons, then the participant now cannot unmute themselves. So there is no unwanted chatting or talking when you are doing the talk. So this is where the most security setting goes. In the tab security, you can see we can allow participants to share screen. We can allow participants to chat, rename themselves, unmute themselves, start the video. So if you do not want the participants to do all these things, you just untick this button. You untick this button. When you untick this button, participant cannot share the screen, cannot chatting, cannot rename themselves, cannot unmute themselves, and cannot start the video. So inshallah, the meeting will be secured. And then if something is happening or some people is hijacking your meeting, do not panic, because in this security button you have some the what we call it at the last bottom, you have suspend participant activities. When you click this button, when something is happened or you cannot control the meeting, or you do not know where you want to press the button, you have panic, you just click security and you click here. You can report to Zoom, and now you suspend all participants activities. Everyone video, audio will turn off, screen sharing will stop, and the meeting will be locked. When you press these buttons, all the profile picture is gone. So it's lock the meeting, it's enable the waiting room, it's hide the pictures, and the participants cannot do anything. But let's say this kind of setting or this kind of action did not work, you can end the meeting. You can end the meeting for all. So this maybe only for 10 seconds he can do the Zoom bombing, na'udzubillah, but he cannot go further. So it's very short demo, but I hope everyone can understand, or now everyone can know where to click or where to do the adjustment when you have to. Maybe I want to add additional because sometimes some people ask me their microphone is not working, their video is not working. So actually here you can see this is the setting for the microphone. Sometimes you select the wrong microphone, that's why your microphone is not working. So you click here. Actually you can test for the microphone and speakers. This is test for the speakers, and this is test for the microphone. So this is a setting for the speakers and microphone. For the camera, if your camera didn't work, you can select here and you can choose which one is your camera. Sometimes you put the USB camera, right? So your laptop have its own camera, but you want to use the USB camera. So you select here and you select the USB camera. I think that's all demo from me, and maybe I can pass to the Sister Dayang.
Open for Q&A. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much to Prof. Thank you very much to Prof and Brother Irfan for sharing such great information with all of us. Yeah. So we are going to open Q&A session for 15 minutes, and all participants are allowed to ask as much as you can. But bear in mind that the question must be very something very good for us to share with. So open for Q&A now. Anyone to ask?
And I have one immediate question.
Oh,
Normally, sorry, I gave a talk and then now I give a question, but not to myself, but to Irfan. Normally, we get echoes. You hear your voice and it's like, being echoed repeatedly, infinitely. I guess this happens quite frequently. How can Irfan explain how to stop and prevent such echo from happening?
Okay, Prof. Thank you for the question. Usually this echo things happen when there is two or more laptops in the same meeting room. So if you having meeting like in the maybe at the rector office or at the Senate hall, you have the system there that you're using for the meeting. So if you want to join the meeting using your handphone or your laptop, please make sure you mute your microphone and you mute your speakers, because when you not mute either salah satu daripada ni, the echo thing will happen. So from my experience when handling this conference or meeting, there's a lot of people, they like to open the Zoom meeting at their own device. So please make sure if you want to open the Zoom meeting at your own device, it's okay, but please make sure you mute your microphone and you mute your speakers. So I think that's why the echo things happens.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay, any other question? Kalau ada yang malu nak bertanya, boleh write dalam chat room ya. Dekat YouTube pun ada. So next question.
There's one question in YouTube. Maybe Irfan boleh jawab.
Okay, YouTube, there's one, sorry. Irfan, there's one question in YouTube.
Let me just read out. Can we also show how to broadcast Zoom to YouTube and Facebook Live? Siapa Irfan?
Irfan lah, Irfan.
Atau
Ya.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me sign into the education slides.
Irfan tak dengar?
Jap, tengah sign in to another account.
Oh, okay.
Kalau ada soalan lain dulu.
Nyanyi ya. Okay, next question lah. Kita tunggu dulu, Irfan. Any other question, participants? Nak tanya Prof pun boleh.
Just to remind participants, you can click on the I attend link given in the YouTube chat box and also in our email announcement. And also please fill up the evaluation form. The link also given.
Okay, there's one question here. How do we turn off the chime feature when participants enter Zoom? It can be distracting. So
there's a sound.
I think this question will be answered by Brother Irfan also. Any question on cybersecurity? While we're waiting for Brother Irfan to set up his YouTube. So if there's any question on cybersecurity, our dear Prof is always be there to answer you. Okay, there's another one question. The question is my device in danger just by being a participant in Zoom meetings? And how to prevent that? Okay, this one also will be answered by Brother Irfan. Glamour lah Irfan depan ni.
Okay. So for the YouTube Live or Facebook Live, bear in mind the education, the paid version or the education license is only allowed to do that. The normal or the free version cannot do the live things. So I will show you. Okay, you can see my screen, right? So now I'm using one of the ITD license, ITD account. When at first I think I want to answer about the chim sound. Sorry, forgot to mention before. When you click this participants buttons, you can see list here and three dot here. You can click these buttons and you can see here play sound when someone join or leave. So when you in a meeting or if you as a host, you can disable this. So there's no sound. Here also you can lock the meeting. You can allow participant to rename themselves, allow participant to unmute, mute participant per entry, and ask all to unmute. So it's very easy actually to use Zoom. Okay, the next is how to do live on YouTube. Okay, uh, it's depend on the event actually because last discussion with OCAP director Dr. Harmi, he said that rectors want all IUM event to be broadcast in the one YouTube channel, which is IUM official. So I think if you're doing a webinar or conference, uh, uh, in maybe national or involving the participant for the outside of IUM, when you want to do the YouTube live, you should ask OCAP or ITD to assist you because you will using the official IUM account. So now I will demo to you if you want to do the live on YouTube. So first of all, you click here, live in YouTube, then you click the account that have allow to go live on YouTube. So broadcast Zoom meeting to YouTube live. So when you click that, if your YouTube account is allowed to do live, you can go live. It's easy. Preparing to live stream the meeting, then it go live straight away. But I will demo you if okay. If I'm using my IUM email address, then you got this error. This user is not enabled for live streaming. So before you do the live streaming, you have to request for the permission to go live at YouTube. After I think about 24 hours, then you can do this live. Same also to if you want to live at Facebook, you just click live on Facebook, then it go to the same page. Okay. The last question, can you repeat, Sister Dan?
Is my device in danger just by being a participant in a Zoom meeting, and how to prevent that?
Thank you, Prof. I think your device will not in danger if you join Zoom meetings, because Zoom meetings only the applications and that you're running the application, like you running a Google Meet or Microsoft Team. The hackers cannot do anything to your device, but they only can hack or do anything to your meetings only. I'm not sure if the hackers can enter or steal your data from the using the Zoom platform, but I never heard that kind of thing happens before. Because one more thing, Zoom is always update their application to the latest security or latest version. So please, everyone, if you are using Zoom or any other application like Webex or Teams or Skype, please update the application, because when the developers or the principal doing the update, there is some security update that they are and that kind of update, inshallah, can prevent the what the danger that might happen to you. So I think that's all. There's another question. Okay, I see at the chat, no Arif Malik at IUM account for Zoom is a basic or advanced account. It's not a paid account. It's just a sign in or a registered user account. If you want a paid account, you have to purchase it separately. But you must using the at IUM or must using the IUM domain if you want to purchase the account.
There was one question on backup room.
Kemudian
The message. Ni. Ada ni, tak ada. Unmute dah.
Assalamualaikum, Prof. Ustaz here. How are you? Thank you for sharing, Prof, and Irfan also. Just to get your opinion, Prof, on since not so much on Zoom, but in general on the cyber security. You mentioned just now, yeah, it happened everywhere, even for US election as well as to our own personal credit cards. I think I heard a lot regarding hacking of credit cards, Prof. And interestingly, it happened to me just 2 weeks ago. All right, on one day, 2 times. First time, maybe they just not test power kot. $1 $1. Agak yang dia tengok lepas, then they try another one on the same day. 8,000 Thailand baht. Okay, bro. 8,000 Thailand baht equals to equals to 1,100 ringgit, bro. Okay. I think as you said just now, ordering food and all that, of course, I did use it to order food, things like that. But to order from Thailand tom yum for 8,000 baht, not me lah, bro. So what can we do to prevent this? Because after I share this with few of my friends, my adik-beradik and all that, there's a lot of cases such as that, but the amount is not puluh ribu and all that, but small, but widespread. Okay, 1,000, 2,000, and then of course I got have to replace my card and all that. But what can we do to prevent this from happening? Takkan kita ada credit card tapi tak pakai. That's another issue juga. Thank you, bro. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. I have such similar experience. I've had to change my credit card very often. As soon as I buy something or I renew my membership of an organization in the US, next day or whenever somebody use my card. But it's good these days that the bank have these facilities that when somebody use the card, they send you an SMS immediately, and you know that somebody used that account. For me, okay, there are a few ways to do this. Number one is when we register our card onto the Google or whatever, don't let them keep it there. You know, Google or some of these companies, they have a mechanism in which you register your card number and they keep it. I have all my cards that were already even cut and scissors. The cards are still there, kept in their, I don't know, in their kind of database. We should stop doing this. We should just purchase something and then let it go, and don't let the organization keep our details about our card. This is the first thing. The second thing is, I noticed some banks or a few banks, they have this feature in which you can, you know, disable your card number from doing any online purchases. So if you want to do an online purchase, you enable it for about, say, 10 minutes, you let it through, and then you disable again. Citibank has this feature. So it's a very useful feature that we can use as well. Other than that, I guess that's the nature of how good people are when they hack into communication system and IT system. There are always really good people who do this, and they do even to people like Bill Gates and so on. So, Dr. Rustam, you are like Bill Gates, so they really also go after you.
Tak, I bawa sikit, bro.
Right. So these are the risks and these are the dangers that are always there floating around.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rustam. Thank you, Prof. and Brother Irfan. It's already 1 o'clock. I think this will the question will be the last question, yeah. And we are going to have another sharing session in future, and hope and really hope that today's session is such a very benefiting to all of us. Yeah. So let us end our session with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-As. Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Thank you, everyone.